Right, so we have a little story time, right? I was talking about FOMO, right? How God was stripping me of that narrative and that cycle, that pattern, right? Well, so while I was writing my book, hold on. Okay, so while I was writing my book, I was in isolation, right? So 7-8 months straight isolation, whole bunch of fasting, no interaction with the world. And I mean, none. And what I did have was very limited. So I was staying with my mom at the time, and that meant, occasionally I would come out to shower, to eat, stuff like that. And even that wasn't a lot because God had me like, oh my God, just on such a strict routine, it was just very, very strict. I don't have another word to express it or even to describe it. It was very strict, right? So, like I said, that looked like, when I would come out of the room, I'd be showering or, I would finally be eating because I was on a super strict diet, if you will, or like fasting practice. And so during this time, obviously, people were reaching out to me because the change was so quick, right? Like God literally took me from interacting with others to not interacting. There was no disclaimer. There was none of that. You get what I'm saying? So how people can want you to give them clarity about a situation that you're literally like figuring out as you go is just mind-blowing. You know what I mean? Like, you want me to give you a disclaimer when God didn't give me one? Literally, I don't have the words to describe what I'm going through right now, right? So I found that out very quickly. A lot of people wanted an explanation for my disappearance, or an explanation as to why I wasn't talking to them, why I was going through this, why I was doing this, so on and so forth. When I was figuring it out, God is speaking to me on a daily about what the situation is, but not in totality. This is literally breadcrumbs from God. So you want me to give you something I don't have. And I was in that moment, the fear of missing out was coming up for me because what I feared the most was if I don't tell certain people what I'm doing or what I'm going through or what's happening in my life, I'm going to lose these relationships. And so I would pray like, Lord God, I love this person. Please don't take this person away from me. Or just, Lord God, I pray that you are between them and me while I'm in this process, so they don't take it personally or get offended, right? Well, God revealed to me, or God said to me, he was like, you'll know the real from the fake when this is all over and done, right? You will know this is a time of testing, not just for them or not just for you, but also for them. Because if they get offended by your absence, then they were never really appreciative of your presence, if you will. Like, they don't care for you because especially in this situation, right? I'm literally anywhere between 80 to 90 pounds after this whole process. If the energy that I have is so minimal to the point to where, y'all, I kid you not, I was so skin and bones that even me cooking took massive strength. The little bit of strength that I had, I would literally have to lean over on the counter just for me to cook. I had no strength. So you can only imagine having little to no strength and trying to use what you have to make people feel comfortable. It's just not possible. So I had a lot of people who would be in their feelings because they hadn't heard from me, or because I didn't say anything about what I was doing, or they didn't know what I was doing, or, whatever the case may be. And it was just so disheartening once I was done with that process, because while I was actually writing a book, there were so many people having discourse about me that was very damaging, you know what I'm saying, to my heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, y'all really talking about me out here, And so much so that people couldn't be happy for me. My mother had she had a birthday party that year, And I want to say it was her 50th birthday party, if I'm not incorrect. It was a major milestone for her. And before I said I'd agreed to go to her party, right? I just come back from LA, by the way, right? So I'm staying with her. I'd agreed to go to her party, and not only that, I agreed to do her makeup. This just goes to show how out the blue God dropped this plan on me. I did not know all that it would take for me to do what God was calling me to do, which was to sit down and write a book. So on top of that, I've made promises to people that I'm not able to keep because God is like, you're not going anywhere. You're going to sit down, you're going to write this book, you're going to focus, you're going to be intentional, and the energy that you do have, you are going to use it to produce what I'm calling you to produce. If people are offended, let them be offended, and you'll get to see how people really feel about you when you start telling them no. And so, like I said, my mother had a birthday party. I wasn't able to go to that. Mind you, I'm staying in her house. I'm thinking to myself, how offensive is that? You know what I mean? I've made these promises. I'm not able to keep up with them. And not only that, she's going to feel some kind of way. She's going to feel like I don't love her, or I'm not supporting her, or, you know what I'm saying? To me, I saw it as being selfish. I was like, Lord God, I kind of feel like I'm being selfish. And God literally told me, sometimes you have to be selfish before you can be selfless. This is an opportunity for you to pour into yourself. You're going to see how people take that for a change. And I learned so much during that time. I kid you not. Now, being that I'm so familiar with FOMO, like I said, being in network marketing, when we would have events or trips or, promotions, team promotions or whatever, the whole baseline was to have this, say, apple or this carrot and make it look so, satisfying that everybody wants to participate, everybody wants to go, or, the who's going to be there, or this is what we're going to be doing on this trip, or, if you sell this much product, you're going to get this, right? So it was always promotion driven. And though that was cool because it's almost like it'll push you, especially if you're somebody who does well under pressure, it would push you to produce more, right? But here's the kicker, right? Because in that moment, what you realize is the type of person that you are in terms of recognition. Like, you like to receive recognition for your accomplishments, right? Which is all fine and well. But learning more about who you are and how you operate, what floats your boat, and how you like to receive validation. So I was learning more about myself in that process. But again, when you start to live your life like that, you will always be chasing after a carrot. And I started to realize that's exactly what I was doing in all of my relationships. I was afraid that if I missed out on this event, if I missed out on this or that, or told them no, or whatever, like that I wouldn't be a part of that crew, or I wouldn't be a part of this person's, you know what I'm saying, favorite people. You get what I mean? Like, offense just came left and right. And all the while I was literally praying to God, like, I don't want to lose this person. I hope that this person can make and stand the test of time. And God was like, you'll see. So all that to say, there was one point in time in my life when I was very much a victim of FOMO. And I would go on trips broke as shit, because I didn't want to miss out on it. And the whole time people are talking about you when you are there. You know what I'm saying? Because of your situation. So it's like, what did you really miss out on? You know what I mean? You may have had a good time, but what did it cost you? And I mean, I don't know. I'm also saying discourse about people going on trips. So that's where that came from. Whole girl trip situation. It's like, you really want to go and you really want to do these things. You really want to be a part of these things. But at the same time, what is it costing you? And at what expense? Right? So yeah, FOMO is a funny thing, bro. Fuck off and move on is even better. I love it here.